Hi everyone, Savannah here, and today's sketch is inspired by Mystical Magical by Benson Boone. I imagine a glowing little ice cream shop perched on a cliff above the clouds, bathed in soft moonlight. It's my dreamy interpretation of the song's magical vibe. Remember, you can grab the brushes I use in this tutorial down below, as well as the color palette and template if you want to draw along. Let's bring this to life. As always, the first thing I like to do is change that background color so we're not just drawing on white. Click into your layers, click background color, and scroll up until you find the color palette I have provided for this drawing and select one of those blue colors for the background. Once we have that background color, let's add a new layer, bring it down below the outline, and let's go ahead and start adding in some color into our image. We're going to use the circle brush. We are going to select this dark blue color. We're going to start with the mountainside here on the left. Now, once we have that filled in, go ahead and click the layer, alpha lock it, and let's pull in some dark magenta in here as well. Now I'm just doing some vertical lines here. We'll blend everything out. Select one of the other purple colors. I'm just adding more color in here. I'll also add some dark colors as well, and then we'll go back through and blend these colors out a little bit better. Now I'm mainly adding this dark blue to the bottom part because as you're looking down a mountain, it gets darker further away you go. And so that's why I'm kind of just sticking towards the bottom with this dark blue. Grab that circle blend brush and let's go ahead and blend some of these colors out. I'm going to select the main color that we used to first fill in the mountain and use that as my blending color. Now I like how the mountain is looking, so let's add a new layer. We're going to work on the background, specifically clouds. And so we want to pick one of these lighter blue colors. You want to do a circle blend brush. That's going to make it look really fluffy and cloud-like. And just start filling in this section here with some of this lighter blue. We'll pull in some pinks, we'll pull in some purples, again to give it a little bit more contrast and make it look a little bit more fluffy, cloud-like. We're just going to keep adding layers here and blending these colors out until you get a cloud fluffy look that you're going for. I'm adding pink kind of as highlights as if the moon is glowing and giving it that lighter color. So feel free to do that. You can do whatever colors you would like for this section. I'm going to be sticking mostly with these lighter blues, lighter pinks, and purples for this part. And I'm just doing some light taps here to make it blend again. I'm trying to make it look really fluffy like clouds, and so light taps usually blend it a little bit better. Once you have the clouds how you like, let's add a new layer, bring it behind the cloud layer, and we're going to start doing the upper part of this background. I'm using a square blend brush for this. It has a little bit more surface for it, so I can fill this area much better. I'm going to add some oranges, some pinks, and then bring that blue back in again just to blend it out even better. Now the sky is complete. Let's move on to the moon. Go ahead and click into layers, add a new layer. And I did not add a color for this in the color palette, so go ahead and click into the disk, do a lighter color. Usually white is pretty good for it. I am sticking towards the blue tones. You can do any tone you want, but I like the blue tone. And go ahead and trace the circle. Now, one thing that I just did here is if you trace a circle and keep holding the pen down on the iPad screen, bring your one finger over and hold it on the screen as well, and it's going to make a perfect circle for you. Then we can alpha lock that moon and start adding colors on top of it. I'm going to select the circle dark brush for this and add in some dark gray to the right side. I'm going to make that kind of the shadow side of the moon, and the left is going to be more the brighter area. Then go ahead and grab that circle blend brush and let's blend this out a little bit more. Now what I'm going to try and do is add some craters to this. So get a slightly darker gray, use that circle blend brush and start filling in a few craters here and there on the surface of your moon. We'll blend it out, we'll pull in some more of the lighter color to the inside of these craters just to make it look more defined. Remember, if you press down with one finger and hold on the screen, it will select that color for you. So go ahead and start selecting colors near the crater that match the moon color, and that's going to make them look a little bit more like craters. It's going to blend them in a little bit better instead of just using white for the centers on all of them. And then I'm also going to grab a slightly darker, dark blue gray color and just define these craters a little bit more. I'm going to have that shadow on the right side. So I'm going through adding more shadow as if the crater is raised on that surface of the moon. And then again, we're going to blend this out so it's not so stark and harsh. One of the final things that I'm going to do on the moon is pull in some pink into this color because the background, the light is a little bit pink. I want that reflected back onto the moon. And so I'm adding a little bit of pink. I'll try out a little bit of orange as well until it looks about how I would want it to look. Now that the moon and the background are complete, let's go ahead and finish this mountain. So add a new layer. We're going to select one of these lighter blue colors and go ahead and use that circle brush to start tracing and filling in the top surface of this mountainside. Now that that is complete, let's go ahead and grab this darker blue color. I'm going to add shadow to the left side of these kind of drips that are coming down the side of the mountain to give it more of that shadow. And now I'm going to add shadow on the surface of this cliff. I'm going to add some almost green kind of color, make it look a little bit like space plants. Here, you can add this if you want, you can keep it just the blue if you want. But I'm just kind of filling in where I kind of want these plants to look and go. And so we're going to do this darker blue color and I'll add some green colors on top of that as well. Now grab that green color and add some of that plant, lighter color material on top. I'm going to use the circle blend brush for this to blend it out as I go. And I'm going to pick that dark blue color up again and start blending out more of that blue color, I'm going to do it down these strips inside the mountain so they're not as stark. You can keep them stark. Again, this is your interpretation, so however you want it to look, I would go with that. And now we're going to pick up that lighter color and again, just start blending in some more until it looks how you want it to look. Now I'm going to add some more color to the surface, a little bit of lighter color from the reflection of the moon. So we're going to select a lighter blue and just start adding some highlights to this. As you can see here, just blending it out onto the surface. And then again, just coming back in with some darker colors to give it that shadow as well. Now let's go ahead and make a new layer. We're going to do this dark purple color and we're going to use a circle brush to fill in these tables that are outside the ice cream shop. Now, as I was doing this, I did do the outline of the chairs, but I wasn't really liking how they were looking. And so I did them more as bar stools. You can keep the original chairs as you like. You can change them completely. Again, this is just an outline template for you to use. So you'll see here that I just kind of changed it to bar stools. I like that look a little bit better. And so this is what I was kind of going for. Now we're going to do the ice cream shop. So select one of these lighter blue colors and we're going to trace and fill in the ice cream shop. Now go ahead and alpha lock the ice cream shop. I'm going to do a new layer as a clipping mask and build up on top of that. You can do it directly on that original ice cream layer if you want to, or you can do the clipping mask. This is just so I can start adding different key aspects to this ice cream shop without having to go over each of them. And so right now I'm going to do the sign that goes on the ice cream shop. I'm going to do it in the pink and we'll add some neon lighting to it. So that's why I kind of wanted this one separate so it can be its own entity. Okay, create a new layer. I'm going to add shadow behind the sign. And so I'm just going to do that right on top here behind the sign. Now let's go ahead and grab a blue color, make a new layer, and let's just add some shadows with this darker blue color. I'm mainly just following the outline here to add that shadow. This is not in the outline, but I'm adding a little bit of detail to the front of the ice cream shop, mainly just these little squares here. We will fix them and make them look a little bit better later in this video, but for now I'm just kind of placing them so I can see visually where they're going to go. So because this left side is more in the shadow, I'm actually going to make this whole left side a darker blue because it will be in the shadow. And so go ahead and make this whole section this darker blue. You can go a little bit darker if you want. I didn't go too dark here because I'm going to add some more colors onto it. But just know that this is going to be more in the shadow, so you can go darker on this side. Now let's go ahead and select an even darker color. I did select the dark blue here at first. I wasn't a fan of how it was looking, and so I went and clicked into the darker purple. But you'll use a circle brush for this section and just start outlining the different outlines here, the door, anything that you want to make a little bit darker and stand out. And remember, if you draw a line or you do something that you don't like how it looks, just double tap with your fingers on the screen. That will undo what you just did. And that way you can go and redo what it is that you're trying to get to look like. Now let's go ahead and add some more shadows. I'm going to select this blue color. We're going to do circle blend. And I'm going to try and just blend that purple down a little bit more. I want to give this wall a little texture, make it look a little bit more run down and not brand new, shiny, bright. And so that's what I'm trying to do here. And don't worry about the shapes losing their definition. We'll go back through at the end to add that back in. This is just more, we want to blend in these colors just to, again, to make it look a little bit more rundown. And I did bring the brush size down a little bit. I didn't like how thick it was, but I'm going over it with this dark purple again to give that definition back in. I'm going to go around the door, the edges of the side of the building, and make it look a little bit more defined here. Now let's do a new layer and add a little bit of this lighter blue color. I'm going to make the front of the shop look rustic and worn down, similar to how we did on the left side. I'm going to use it kind of as like a highlight color. So add a lighter color here, and let's do that same texture we did on the left side. Let's go ahead and work on the sign here. I'm going to do a new layer. I'm going to do clipping mask to the sign below so that we can add the font onto here. We can make it look a little bit more neon. I'm going to use orange here. I'm going to use my circle brush. So not the blend, not the dark. I'm just use the regular circle brush. And I'm going to spell out the ice cream word, and we're going to create a neon sign with this. Let's go ahead and duplicate this layer, select the bottom of those two layers, and we're going to click over into hue, saturation, and brightness and make it a little bit brighter. Then we're going to do a Gaussian blur on it to give it that glow as if it was a neon sign. Now let's select a lighter pink color, that circle blend brush, and add a little bit more light pink around where we wrote out ice cream here. Again, it's just going to make it appear more like it's a glowing neon sign. One thing I forgot to do was make sure that this layer is on alpha lock, so go ahead and alpha lock that layer if you haven't done so already, just so that we're not drawing outside of those lines. Now let's do a circle blend brush and pick up a darker color. Again, the sign kind of wraps around the building, and so we want it to be darker on the left side for that sign as if it's in the shadows. Remember, for these brushes, the harder you press, the more saturated that color is going to be. The lighter it you press, the lighter that color is going to be. So if you want it to go a little bit darker, you can press darker. If you want it kind of in the middle, just press it a little bit lighter. And now I'm going to add some pink down below. We're going to do a new layer, bring it down below all of uh, the ice cream sign that we did and all the other blue layers. And I'm just going to add some pink beams to the front of the shop here. Now select that dark blue color, do a new layer, and we're going to add the underneath shadow from the sign that's sticking out. And I'm just touching up the sign here. I'm doing a little bit lighter color here on the right side again. The light is kind of hitting from the right side, not from the left. And so the left we want to be a little bit darker. And so add a little bit that lighter pink to the right. I'm going back through just again blending out these colors even more. So adding a little bit of that darker one with the circle blend brush just to blend it out even more. Now I'm going to add some dark blue here because this is going to be in the shadow. Once I fill this in, I'm actually going to add more of that detailing that I have on the front of the shop there with an even darker color. And so feel free to do that. You can keep it just a solid color, however you want it to look. I just wanted to add more of that detail there on the side. Now let's find the layer that has these squares here and let's clean them up a little bit with that lighter blue color. We'll go back and forth between that lighter blue and the darker blue until we get the shape that we like for this section. Now that that is done, let's go ahead and do a new layer and we're gonna work on the lights that are up underneath the ice cream shop. Select the orange color. I'm gonna make it a little bit lighter. I'm gonna use my circle brush and I'm just gonna add some circles up underneath of the shop here. You'll want to bring this layer to the top because we have so many layers that are clipped to each other. It's cutting out those lights. And so just bring it outside. You just drag it all the way up to the top until you don't see those arrows anymore. And that's going to bring it to the top. Make sure it's not selected on clipping mask. And now you can add these circles up underneath the awning here. That is going to give that glow and vibrance underneath. Duplicate those light layers so that we can add that glow to it. I am going to change the brightness on the ice cream sign a little bit, so I just added more brightness to it. Select the bottom of the lights, click that hue, saturation, and brightness, and let's bring up the brightness and saturation a little bit, and then do a Gaussian blur on it. I'm also going to change the coloring of the original lights just a little bit. I'm going to bring the brightness down a little bit, saturation up a little bit, just to give them a little bit more yellow. Now I'm just going to touch up this wall a little bit more. I wasn't liking how it looked. I feel like the proportions were off, so I'm going to just update it a little bit here. Now let's go ahead and work on the inside of the store here. I'm going to keep the details a little bit more plain and basic. So select the orange color, make sure you have that circle blend brush, and alpha lock that first layer. We're going to add some light into here because we will have some lights inside the store as well. And so we want it to be a little bit brighter. Now I added the orange to that base layer. I'm actually going to do it on a new layer. So I just undid all my work. Select that new layer and do the orange onto that new layer. You could have kept it on the original if you wanted to, but it was just blending into the layer below and I want it to be separate. Now that it is on its own layer, I'm liking how this is looking. Now let's go ahead and select a dark blue color and we're going to add details on the inside of the store. Use the circle brush and just start outlining the shapes that are here from the outline and fill that in. Now let's select that color that we used for those lights on the outside and use them for the same on the interior. I'm going to add lights to the inside. The shop is glowy, and so you select that layer that we did the orange on and add some circle lights to the top there. And we can add some glowiness to this naturally. I'm going to select that color there. I'm going to select my circle blend brush and just add some glowiness to this without using Gaussian. So there's a couple different ways you can do it. You could use a do a couple different layers, do the bottom layer as Gaussian. You could do it this way, use that circle blend brush and add it that way as well, and just blend it out very softly. Both ways work. It's just depending on your preference. Select a darker orange color and that circle brush, and let's go ahead and outline a little bit more of these shapes that we have in here, just with that darker orange as if the light is kind of reflecting off of this area. And now we're going to blend it out a little bit more. Again, I like having it blended. You don't have to, you can keep it very sharp contrast here. I just like blending it. That's just my personal preference. Now I am happy with the looks of this interior. And so we're going to move on to the next. We're going to alpha lock this building here. We're going to add some glow to the front of the shop here as if the light is spilling out from the inside. Now I'll add a new layer on top of all the lights. I want to add even more glow from the shop from the inside. So we're going to select that orange color, that blend brush, and just add a light glow here. We're going to change the style of it. And so I'm going to change it to either the lighter color works, overlay works, any of those will work for here. I'm going to set the opacity down a little bit because it is very bright on this area. And so I don't want it to be that bright. I just want a little bit of that glow. And now I'm going to erase part of this side here because I want this to be a window. And so I want that background color to come through. If we have it all orange and glowy, it just kind of blends in and makes it look like it's the interior of the shop. I'm gonna erase this section so that we can have a window there with that natural background. Now I did do it on the glowy orange layer, but you actually want to do it on the base ice cream shop layer. That's what's going to bring that background color in. Now let's go ahead and add a new layer. I'm going to grab the moon color and I'm going to add the circle blend brush. I'm going to add some light reflection from the moon on the front. Want it to look like this shop has glass on the front side. Now let's go to the table layer and we're going to add some glowiness to the tops of the tables here. So we're going to still use that moon color and add a little bit of glow to the tables so that they're reflecting that light back. And I'm adding a little bit of pinks to the tables as well because again, the sky is a soft pink and so I'm just adding a little bit of pink into there as well. Now let's add some more shadows and some highlights to the surface of this mountain here. I want to add some shadows behind the tables, and so I'm going to select a darker blue color, that circle blend brush, and just lightly press here to add some of the shadow there. We're also going to add some shadow here to the side of the building as well onto the ground. And as always, I like to blend it out a little bit. So go ahead and start adding that shadow and blend it out. I'll keep building up here just to get it to how I like it to look. Now I do want to add some of this pink glow from the store, the neon sign, the inside of the store to the ground here. So go ahead and grab some of that pink color and just add it into the surface here. I'll start adding some other lighter colors again just to build up the glow from the ice cream shop. There you have it, our magical ice cream shop on the edge of a cliff with the moon glowing over it. I hope you had so much fun sketching with me today. You can find the template, color palette, and brushes linked down below. If you recreate it, don't forget to tag your version with hashtag French Savvy Sketches. I'd love to see your mystical take on it. See you in the next one.